Parliament to rescind its decision appointed by President Accra.
Let's go. Honorable Katie Hammond, Honorable Obi Amwa, Honorable Steve Amwa, they are all colleagues.
And later in this bulletin, Ghana begins sharing intelligence with Burkina Faso as part of measures to prevent violent extremists from entering Ghana's northern borders.
As part of our security measures have been put in place, key among which includes 1. Regular RECSEC meetings to review security situations in our region.
Let's begin our bulletin from the courts because the High Court in Accra has directed lawyers of the Secretary to the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, Kwabena Edujemfi, otherwise known as Reverend Victor Kusibuating, to properly serve the Northern Member of Parliament, Okudzeto Ablakwa, on the contempt processes against him. Lawyers of the plaintiff filed a contempt application against the Member of Parliament after law. There's more in the following report.
The premises of the High Court in Accra was filled with party supporters, traditional leaders and admirers of the Northern MP Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. For these supporters, including executives of the party, the suit is only an attempt to gag the Member of Parliament. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has been dragged to court for contempt after he was captured in a video kicking an interim injunction notice issued against to restrain the Northern MP from making further publications on their clients. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa in numerous publications had indicated that Victor Kusibuating, under the name Kwabena Edujemfi, benefited from contracts of the National Cathedral and have thus accused the Secretary to the Board of Trustees of conflict of interest and double identity fraud. But when the case was called in court on Tuesday, the mode of serving the processes of contempt on Okudzeto Ablakwa became a matter of contention. The judge ruled that the MP had not been served according to records available to him, even though Okudzeto Ablakwa had responded to the application. The judge indicated that any of the processes that the counsel for Okudzeto Ablakwa procured from social media or through the counsel of the plaintiff cannot be regarded as service for contempt processes for the MP. He thus urged lawyers of the plaintiffs to file the necessary processes with the office of the Speaker of Parliament. Roxanne Dafiameko, who spoke on behalf of the legal team, expressed content about the direction from the Speaker.
What transpired was that in courts, when the through the Speaker in Parliament, giving the status of the respondent in this matter, the Honourable Okudzeto Ablakwa. So the matter has been adjourned sine die for the applicants to put their house.
Getting wind of the decision of the court, jubilated what they described as a victory. The minority in Parliament was heavily represented, led by the Deputy Minority Leader Emmanuel Amakofibua. He described as unacceptable the proceedings against Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa and expressed support of the minority to the NDC legislator.
We should have seen Mr. Adu Jemfi in court, but instead, you know who was in court? The man who was fighting for the rights for Ghana, Okujeto Ablakwa. And that is why you are all here. That is why you see all the crowd here. The people of Ghana are committed and support all the right things he's fighting for. The minority in parliament stands strongly behind him. And we want to make it clear. Today we went to court, it was obvious that the people who took us to court are running away from their own application.
Also present was the General Secretary of the party, Fifi Fiavikwete, who noted that the party hierarchy is in support of the works of the MP.
NDC as a party, from the national through the region, through Ketu, to North Town, is fully behind our comrade, our brother, Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. To say that the party is not deterred at all, that there's nothing that the forces that are against the truth can do to We believe the cause is fighting is the cause. The party stands fully 100% behind.
Meanwhile, the first accused person in the coup plotter case has accused the state of planting the weapons retrieved from his hospital at the time of the arrest. Dr. Frederick McPalm and 9 others are standing trial for allegedly plotting to topple the government. But when he opened his defense on Tuesday, the medical doctor by profession accused the government of framing him and the other accused persons.
Dr. McPalm, who is the first accused person in his evidence in chief, noted that the non-governmental organization Take Action Ghana was formed in or about July 2019. During cross-examination, however, it was resolved that the group was incorporated in 2018. Dr. McPalm noted that the aims and objectives of Take Action Ghana is mainly to mobilize, sensitize, and educate the citizenry about their basic and fundamental rights. However, prosecution argued during cross-examination government. Dr. McPalm, in his evidence in chief, also accused the prosecution witness 3, Sule Awaf, of framing and planting during the arrest. According to Dr. McPalm, PW3, that's prosecution witness 3, instigated about 90% of all conversations, topics, and discussions. He noted that the video recordings that were tendered to the court as Exhibit D by PW3 were doctored. He also accused PW3 of suggesting to leadership of Take Action Ghana to acquire weapons for their protection after they were attacked by armed robbers during one of their outreach trips on the Bolibamboy stretch. But during cross-examination, the Director of Public Prosecution replayed videotapes which have been tendered in evidence of ammunitions being manufactured in Dr. McPalm's hospital in his presence. However, Dr. McPalm insisted that the tapes were doctored and could not speak to them. Dr. McPalm also accused the police, military intelligence, and the BNI of engaging in selective arrest and prosecution of people of certain extraction because they did not find anything incriminating in his WhatsApp chats with some of the accused persons. During the cross-examination, however, the prosecution pointed out a WhatsApp engagement between Dr. McPalm and ACP Agojo, where Dr. McPalm is alleged to have said that the Take Action Ghana will be used to trigger something similar to the Arab Spring. However, Dr. McPalm noted that he did not see anything wrong with an Arab Spring, as President Akufo-Addo had made mention to same during his days as flag bearer in opposition.
Let's move away from the courts and bring you other stories, because the family of the late Christian Atsu, the Ghana Football Association, and the Ministry of Sports have held deliberations on the funeral rites of the ex-Black Stars player. The one-week observation of Atsu's demise will take place on Saturday, the 4th of March 2023. The 31-year-old passed away following a devastating earthquake quick. In Turkey, early this month, Citi Sports Evans of Ochumanso was at Atsu's family house earlier today and has filed this report.
It's the second day since the Book of Condolence was opened here at the family house of Christian Atsu behind the St. Peter's Mission School at Ododo. Several sympathizers have been coming to the family house to commiserate with the family. Earlier today, former Black Stars players, including Asamoah Gyan, his brother Bafo Gyan, Sule Ali Muntari, and Emmanuel Ajimabedu, were all here to pay a visit to the family of Christian Atsu. They signed the Book of Condolence and then shared some moments with the family. Later in the day, Deputy Sports Minister Evans Bobier led officials from the Sports Ministry and the Ghana Football Association to commiserate with the family of the late Black Stars player at his family. Henry, Communication Director of the Ghana Football Association, Henry Ashanti Region, told the media the summary of their meeting with the family of Christian Atsu.
Our mission, first of all, was to commiserate with the family and share our sympathies with the family, and then also, in view of that, we wanted to find out if any arrangements have been made whatsoever. So I think that, yes, the family informed us that per the custom and the tradition of the family, the 1 week observation will be held on 4th of March, Saturday, 4th March. In their plans, they wanted to have the funeral on 17th of March, 17th, 18th of March. But it is something that they need to do in conjunction with the state, because Atsu is a statesman. So they've left the funeral side to the GFA and the state to come back to the family in terms of finalization and confirmation. So the Deputy Minister, through Executive Council Member Odro Safo, also informed the family that we will go back and relay the information to the Sports Minister, who is not in town, and then the President, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, who is also not in town. And once we relay the information to them and they approve the 17th, 18th March, we will come back to the family. After that, official announcement will be made. But the 1 week observation will take place on Saturday, March 4. The venue will be communicated in due course, because the family expects the state to also come in as regards space and venue for the 1 week observation.
On the side of government, Deputy Sports Minister Evans Bobier highlighted government's commitment to ensure Atsu gets a befitting farewell.
Our mission here this afternoon is just simple: to come and greet the family and then to find out the necessary arrangements that they are putting in place. First of all, for the 1 week celebration, and then secondly, for the final funeral rites, so that we can that the state will be deeply involved. So it is better and proper, like I said, culturally, to come back to the arrangement they are putting in place, so that we can also communicate same back to the presidency, for the states to be able to know at what level of involvement that the state will come in.
Family head of the Twasam family, Nene G.K. Twasam, was elated with the support that the family has received across the globe.
The support the family received was so novel. A lot of people sent their consoling messages. Some also came in kind to support. Visitors will be coming so that we can take care of them. These are the things that came, both home and abroad. They are all coming.
Also to visit the family house today was Atsu's manager when he played for Cheetah FC, Abdul Hayate. Mr. Ibrahim Opon Kwarten of Crime Check. Mr. Kranten shared fond memories of his time with Christian Atsu.
He reached out to me about 5 years ago. He obviously has been following us on social media, and then I think he was touched by the humanitarian work we are doing in the prisons, and then other interventions that we are making to relieve people of poverty. So with the passion that he had and the fact that he grew up from a very poor background, we started with a petty offenders project, where he paid the fines of petty offenders who find themselves in prison. And as we speak, he's been able to release over 160 petty offenders, and not only release them, but under our ex-convict reintegration project, the CCFS convict reintegration project, he's also reintegrated most of them into society by providing them with trading capital. So you see most of these people on the streets selling air refreshness, car air refreshness, and so on and so forth. Most of these people were given trading capital by Christian Atsu.
Outside football, Atsu touched so many lives through his philanthropic works. He served as a key ambassador for charity organization Arms Around the Child, and my colleague Yahweh Jeminta spoke with the organization's global director Eli Milner, and this is what she had to say about the former Black Stars player.
It's quite organic, really, how that sort of stuff works. In a lot of ways, I just happened to know somebody who was she just mentioned that she was working with Christian on a couple of things, and that he was really interested in either setting up his own foundation or, just affiliating himself with somebody. So we all went to Newcastle and we all met and had a fabulous afternoon just talking about our work and what we were doing. And he was very engaged. We work in India, South Africa and Ghana. So he was interested in all of the work that we did with all of the children. But immediately he was just like, great, well, let's go meet the children. Let's do it. Let me help you. And it was brilliant. So from then on, he kind of, we visited Ghana many times. He used to visit the children, and when he wasn't able to and wasn't there, he would send truckloads of, goods and food and supplies to the children. And then sometimes he would go and take them all out on a shopping trip, and other times he would go down and play football with them. And it's
been a day of commiserations here at the family house of Christian Atsu. More Ghanaians are expected to be here to commiserate with the family and continue tomorrow and subsequent days. Reporting for Citi News, I am Evans of Ochumanso.
Now, many students who were placed in their preferred schools in the Ashanti region were frustrated on Monday as they had to join long queues. Some they were not served. They thus want the Ghana Education Service to ensure all schools put adequate measures in place to reduce the burden of students and parents during registration in subsequent years. Our Middle Belt Bureau Chief Edward Oponma for reports.
Lanefia Brago from Pomer's brother has gained admission to T.I. Ahmedian Senior High School in Kumasi. They had to travel from Techiman in the Blue East region to Kumasi early Monday morning in order to get her brother go through the registration process. They will have to go back to Techiman and return the next day since they were not attended to as a result of the long queue.
I feel disappointed. We've been here from morning, 10 a.m. so now no one has attended to us. We came here, there were fights all over. We've joined the queue, they'll rearrange again, we will still join the queue, but no one is attending to us, and I don't know if they will attend to us or we will leave just like that.
Other frustrated parents and guardians have been speaking to Citi News.
I think the
Around what time did you come here?
We came here around 5 a.m. Attending to. Then I think the lectures who are attending to the parents are very few. If you can get more lectures, I think it will be very it will be of help. I don't know why this process is quite slow. It is very slow. Finally, I came early Monday, told them to buy voucher, fill this one, then they direct us here. They told us those who are taking our science, they are going to eat. And then it took a whole lot of time. It's not good. Whether you can, tell the authorities to speed up things next time. It will be good for the parents.
The assistant headmaster in charge of academics at TI
the number is so huge.
probably with the last year, we programmed it in such a way that we gave almost every parent or student who have qualified to come to TIMAS a particular date through the online registration. But this year, we did not do that. So it has made almost all parents coming today, which has created problem for us. So moving forward, what I will say that it is unfortunate, and we are very sorry about that.
He adds that so far, the school has adequate food supplies to cater for students who have just been admitted.
With regards to food, have for us to who are yet to come, almost about more than to take care of them ready. Though they will be reporting on the 27th. We have enough food at the stores to take care of them. So food is not a problem at all.
Some parents and guardians are calling on authorities to ensure that various schools put in place measures to ensure that the process becomes less cumbersome. For Citi News, I'm Edward Upon Malfo, TI Ahmadiyya Senior High School, Kumasi.
Domestic Credit Committee to represent and protect pensioner domestic bondholders in the country. The group says the committee will be in the interest of pensioners. Citi News' Kennedy Chumasi has more in the following report read by Inosafo.
For pensioners holding government bonds, exempting them from the government's debt exchange program was not far-fetched. Constantly picketing at the Finance Ministry and petitioning key stakeholders were concrete moves it took to ensure its members were not included. The Finance Ministry that all pensioners who failed to tender their old bonds for new ones under the Domestic Debt Exchange Program had been exempted. However, to further push for better policies for pensioners holding government bonds in the country, the Pensioner Bondholders Forum has proposed the formation of a Domestic Credit Committee. Addressing the media, the convener of the group, Dr. Eduan Anientri, says the move will help increase investor confidence and force the government to honor its debt obligations.
The forum supports a proposal made by Dr. Eduan Anientri for the establishment of by an executive instrument of a domestic creditor committee made up of 2 representatives each from the Ghana Association of Bankers, Ghana Insurance Association, Ghana Securities Industry Association, Chamber of Pension Trustees, holders. The committee will serve to represent and protect the common interests of all domestic bondholders and also people holding treasury bills. It will have the following function, basically 2 functions: to monitor compliance by the government with its debt obligations to domestic creditors, and 2, to offer independent advice to the government on measures and policies that must be undertaken to ensure the continuous obligation to domestic
expenditure in order to meet its debt obligations.
These measures are intended to increase investor confidence that the debt obligations will be complied with by government, thus making the bonds and treasury bill more valuable to investors. We trust that the government will be able to meet its obligation to all holders of government bonds, but wish to advise that given the current economic circumstances of the country, it is prudent that the government review some of its expenditures and bring the levels down to create fiscal space to meet its debt obligations always.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom here on Citi TV with me, Kweku Ediama. Answer still ahead. Democratic Congress, DNDC, and the Minority Caucus in Parliament to rescind its decision not to approve the new ministers appointed by President. Sorry.
Bank of Ghana has upgraded the 1 Ghana Citi coin with enhanced security features. The coin will be put into circulation from 12th December 2022. It is similar to the existing 1 Ghana Citi coin in shape, form and images. The coat of arms in front and the scale of justice at the back. The upgraded 1 Ghana Citi coin is bimetallic with outer gold and inner silver. The coin has a pronounced rough edge and incorporates a latent image which appears in a rectangular form below the scale of justice at the back. The latent image changes from a radiating star to a 1 Ghana Citi symbol sandwiched between 2 stars when tilted. The existing and the upgraded 1 Ghana Citi coins will co-circulate until the existing coin is gradually withdrawn. The general public is encouraged to accept the coins and use them.
Within the diner, minya HIV in February 1990. No credit na edin ye semejatum. Ebra mi ye nhwehwemu no. Na edro ni baby a adom ni nti mfiansia echi edro bai e wo Ghana ha.
Ampo ka abra no mfie bi echi na antiretroviral no ebi ni ho. Na anidaso ni ho ma ye da ache. De ne adwene ho ani wu eda ye nim.
Me ne wo fa ware mfie retroviral yi ena wiase nyina wanase hwe se ye ho ayefe ade ba akone se antiretroviral yi se wono ne pepepe se de ya kire wo na akutia HIV moawa no abosumi sia wo ye hwehwemu a emwa ne brase na ontimi sanfa ma obi foforo na mmom kai se obenum wedru yi
yes se nyanu mo HIV moawa no bi se onum antiretroviral no ne yie yetime tu esase mfiempim no ne aduasa.
You're welcome back to the program. Now, the Upper East Regional Minister, Stephen Yakubu, says the Regional Security Council is working with their counterparts in Burkina Faso in intelligence sharing as part of measures to prevent violent extremists from entering Ghana's northern borders. There is growing concern over insurgents entering Ghana from Burkina Faso as refugees flee insurgency into Ghana. Now, the minister made the Commission for Refugees and the Ghana Refugee Board to discuss emerging situation up north. Well, my colleague Charles Osukume has been monitoring proceedings and he comes through with this report. Charles, tell us more.
Now, it is thought that about 2 million people have fled neighboring Burkina Faso due to increased insurgency in some parts of that country. Now, the activities of violent extremist groups thought to be associated with caused several people to flee, especially the rural areas of Burkina Faso. Some of these people have found their way into Ghana, into the Upper East and Upper West regions. Currently, it is thought that about 4,000 people are seeking asylum in these regions of Ghana. Now, to be able to manage the influx of these refugees from Burkina Faso into the country, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees organized a high-level stakeholder engagement here in Accra. Now, the Upper East Regional Minister, the Upper West Region, Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh, were there, and they shared with the stakeholders how they are managing the situation.
As part of our measures to curb extremist attacks from the region, a number of security measures have been put in place, key among which includes 1. Regular RECSEC meetings to review security situations situation, and I know all of you are aware of what is happening. Joint RECSEC meetings with neighboring countries. Rigorous sensitization campaign on see something, say something, which is gaining the support of our communities, hence yielding results. 2 persons were trailed and arrested and sent to Accra based on this campaign. We already had 2 cells in Bolgatanga. We trailed them, arrested them, and, of course, sent them to Accra.
The influx of people of concern was due to a military coup d'etat about 100 and female communities, namely Bano, Pido, Wuru, and Kwapon. The people of concern in the Sisal East municipality are mostly farmers. They have since not returned to Burkina Faso. Therefore, they are with us here in Ghana. There is a possibility of a rise in their numbers when the rains start in due to their farming activities. Return of persons of concern if the situation in Burkina Faso persists. Terrorist groups can infiltrate these persons of concern and enter our territories. Our borders remain large and porous. The persons of concern in the Sisala East municipality have demands for land space and have put more pressure on social amenities and other facilities in our communities. These are the main concerns that we face.
The country representative for UNHCR, Esther Kiragu, complimented Ghana's contribution towards refugees in the sub-region. She also called for enhanced effort at resolving the emerging refugee crisis in the northern part of the country.
I couldn't be more proud of the Ghana legacy. You've done it before, there is a template. It has been a win-win for both the host and the refugee. To the people of this beautiful Republic of Ghana. I know we can do it. We have done it before. We can do it with the Burkina Faso situation. We haven't been in the north. We actually, Ghana Refugee Board and ourselves don't have a presence there, but that's because it wasn't a priority at the time. But now the situation has changed, and we are already thinking of establishing a permanent presence there to work with you in this situation to make sure the lessons we've learned do not go to waste, that we are able to support you and work with you.
As much as the stakeholders at this dialogue agree that Ghana has a responsibility to receive and treat with dignity these refugees coming in from Burkina Faso, they also say that the country must intensify its security at its northern borders to ensure that these insurgent groups do not find their way into the country. My name is Charles Osukumi, reporting from the Labadi Beach Hotel in Accra for Citi News.
Let's take you to the House of the Legislature now, because the majority in Parliament is appealing to the National Democratic Congress, that is the NDC, and the minority caucus in Parliament to rescind the decision not to approve the new ministers appointed by President Akufo-Addo. Prior to the vetting of the newly nominated ministers on Monday, the NDC directed the minority group not to approve them, describing their appointment in the midst of an economic mess. Addressing the media, the Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre appealed to the NDC and its members in Parliament to support the approval of the ministerial nominees. There's more in the following report.
Following a decision by the minority caucus in Parliament not to approve the newly appointed ministers by President Nana Akufo-Addo, the majority in Parliament has appealed to the group to rescind its decision and support the nominees.
I just want our colleagues to understand that for the sake of the unity and the desire for us to forge a working relationship, and this is their major decision, major in terms of the fact that, okay, since they come into leadership, this is the first time, more or less, they are going to make such a significant decision that they should so-called temper justice with mercy. That is not the right expression to use in this context, because I don't see the relevance of this. But I'm just saying it, that they should just let's go, support the nominees, let's pass them. Primarily, all these nominees, the Honorable Brian, the Honorable Katie, this House, we have this is nominated and privileged to be nominated. We rally around one another to get them endorsed, especially in the case that there is no criminal committer of any crime. It will not be injurious if they so decide to support the decision. I'm just appealing to them, for them to remember that today will be a very significant day in our body politics. That once upon a time, nomination from the presidency came, and all they said ab initio was that a no, 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 without even listening to them.
Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament is asking the Deputy Majority Leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, to apologize to them for describing their decision as politically immature.
He was so wrong in that point. More importantly, there has been instances where the party has directed the parliamentary caucus of the MPP. For example, when President Mahama won the election, there was a directive that they did not recognize the government of President Mahama and that they were in court. So they should boycott participation in the appointments. And in fact, they did. Do we describe them as the reason because they did that, they did not have thinking caps on? I think we should let Honorable Afenyo-Markin understand that we believe that we are in serious times of crisis, and this house, this people's house, is a house of serious business. It's not a house of insult. If he's going to be serious in engagement, he should. If he goes on this path, we will not deal with him as a leader.
On Tuesday, the Appointments Committee of Parliament continued with the vetting of the ministers. Appearing before the committee was the Minister of State designate for the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Osei Bonso Amwa, who was questioned on the size of government by the minority leader, Christian Atsu.
At a time, how many deputy ministers were at the Ministry of Local Government, and a minister were at the Ministry of Local
Honorable
Government?
Ranking and minority leader, we've gone over this. I said at the time, a minister and 2 deputies. And you said that because sanitation was... I can't agree with you.
I'm asking you this question because you said the Ministry of... Yes, I agree it's a large ministry, but it was bigger prior to 2017 when sanitation was part of it.
And okay.
And yet,
Chairman.
And yet, the government.
I'm careful not to then talk about how well it was managed and how efficient it was managed. It will lead us to another argument. But your point is that you had a deputy and a minister and two deputies, and you had sanitation attached to it, so it was bigger. I don't want us to extend this. Otherwise, I'll also tell you what has been added to our ministry.
The Deputy Minister Designate for the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Dr. Stephen Amwa, also appeared before the committee and spoke on matters relating to Maslock.
Every organization has its cultural and policies in terms of practices. We have different types of loans, and they are within the legal confines or environment of Maslock. First, the one that actually fits this picture, Mr. Chairman, is the group loan. Maslock was set up is that the group loan, we give like 5 applicants or beneficiaries. And sometimes you do a market that you get a number beyond 1,000. So the banks take the money, they get a very big size. If they can access a big hall, which is about 10 times we have here, they do the public one with the bankers there. They actually dish out the money, and the leaders of the group sign.
Is it the case that Maslock engaged it to procure a number of vehicles without going through procurement procedures?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this issue came out years back in this country, and it was proven that I think I have to draw curtains on this issue here because of the nature of exercise that we are all going through. In the first place, the said company never imported for Maslock. That is never true. What happened was they approached Maslock when I was the CEO to bring vehicles, not for Maslock to pay, but they wanted to use Maslock as a medium so that Maslock, even as at that time, government had not even released money, we had not even imported any car. So we actually spoke to, and then he said that he thought it wise, there wasn't anything bad with it, but he thinks it's not good to allow a private company to procure and use Maslock as a platform. Mr. Speaker, we just cancelled the processes that we had started. We never ever had any imported cars by Dextro. And I think the papers are there. I mean, they can check.
This is still the Citi News. In the Upper Dentra West District of the Central Region over the death of a 22-year-old boy. We have details coming up shortly. Kindly stay.
Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
You're welcome back to the program. Now, the National Labour Commission, the NLC, has reviewed that unfair dismissal cases tops labour issues brought before the Commission for intervention. This was made known when the Commission paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations. There's more in this report filed by Citi News' Ashanti Region.
The National Labour Commission, established under Section 135 of the Labour Act, facilitates and sets labour disputes, among others. Since its establishment 17 years ago, the Commission has received over 11,000 complaints by individuals, unions, worker associations and TUC, among others. According to them, it has successfully resolved 71% of all disputes brought before it in the period under review. The Commission revealed that unfair termination was among the highest number of complaints brought before it.
Of all the cases filed, unfair termination and dismissals top the list, recording almost 40%. Demonstration of the fact that there is the need to strengthen internal mechanisms for handling grievances and also promote effective labor management cooperation between labor and management. Most of these cases are recorded from the private sector.
The Commission also cited the salary discrepancies caused by the introduction of the single spy salary structure as a contributing factor to most of the labor agitations recorded in the public sector.
On industrial agitations, it is important to note that the public sector has continued to record the highest number of disputes since the year 2010, when the implementation of the single span salary structure commenced. The education and health sectors have recorded high industrial agitations and strikes and or work stoppages, and these are mainly related to conditions of service. During the Commission's interventions in these disputes, it has been recognized that the issue of capacity by the representatives of government as an employer is a major challenge.
They also mentioned some challenges confronting the Commission, which needed the swift attention of the Minister.
As we sit here now, a section of our block is off because of. So you can imagine, if we are to sit today, we can't sit. It is very unfortunate. So we need your help. Are always in arrears due to late releases of funds. I don't know, even since December or so. We keep on sitting. The lack of proper conditions of service for the staff of the Secretariat is another major challenge. Our information is that in the last 2 years, the Secretariat of the Commission has recorded high staff turnover, with over 30% of the staff resigning from the service of the Commission due to poor conditions of service.
The Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafuewa, in response, advised employers to use legal means to address labour issues with employees.
We may have to do a broader education to let people know. You can't just engage people at the workplace and then when you think that you no longer need them, you just dismiss them. No, they may have committed their working life to you. So if for any reason you have to cease that relationship, it should go through normal procedure. You don't just get up one day to say that, no, I don't need you. Go without compensating or giving the person his or her due.
With the issue of public sector workers agitating and sometimes embarking on industrial action over poor condition of service, the minister promised to work with other ministries to curb the trend.
We are working with the various ministries to try as much as possible to make sure that we minimize agitations at that level.
Now, tension is mounting between Dentra, Ayamfuri and Fobinso communities in the Upper Dentra West District of the Central Region over the death of a 22-year-old man. The deceased, Evans Raku, was stoned to death at Dentra, Fobinso, over his alleged involvement in a robbery incident at a Galamsey site in the community. Family in the following report.
The deceased is a 22-year-old former student of Cathedral College in Cape Coast and is known by his peers as Evans Raku, while others also call him Nkwantabisa. Citi News sources say the deceased visited the Dentra Fobinso community to engage in Galamsey activities. On Friday, February 17, 2023, a member of the Fobinso community was attacked by unknown persons at a Galamsey site, and Raku was accused of the attack and was arrested by members of the community and dragged before the chief. According to information gathered by Citi News, even though the deceased denied any wrongdoing, the chief of Fobinso allegedly ordered for him to be dealt with, causing angry residents to stone Raku to death at the center of the town. According to family members of the deceased, before they could arrive at Fobinso from Ayamfuri after the news of their relative being stoned reached them, he had already passed away and his body conveyed by the police. The deceased is a 2021-year product of Cathedral College in Cape Coast but could not proceed to the university last year since he failed one of his papers. He, however, recently passed the paper through remedial exams and was waiting again for admission to the university this year. Mother of the deceased, Salamatu Raku, narrated how the incident happened to Citi News.
Yes, so one more call here and so much chrome for therefore there's chrome for black. It won't be ban or a fan motor, it were a chrome for no more call ye. Or here and the Santino. One more fan call, John Bayano, Mayano, and yes, one more sit up war running free.
Devastated father of the deceased wants the police to take action and have the killers of his son arrested and made to face justice.
The Macacha Bumble for the Miss Roma, a pattern training. Umaya or now be as some fun who be on Omuncheno and then running any.
Nana Kwesi Kwati is formed Fobinso to avenge the death of their colleague. Even as he admonishes the youth of his community to exercise restraint, he wants the matter to be dealt with in order not to have an escalation.
There are 7 hours on media, I am it. But up to now, I make a say, or any intimate frame. And there will be answering intimate frame, Mamma, you could say, say, Nessia, no more Bama, dear, I can be. Intimate ranch any more food in danger. I may, I may go so day, Yansakwabi, juju o makuma se na be ya enkofa oye ne kese bi nyeden emba na me so makoye panin no me mpene sa te mesre o panin ni IGP the police for mpene for wa ha e kan bi ewu so momodin no momre kuro so me arrest.
Assemblyman for Yamfuri, Kwesi Enim Castro, wants the police to take swift action to calm tensions between the two communities. He describes the action of the perpetrators as a deliberate one.
For those who will be able to you know, we need to go. Nemo, the air can say, Sadia no more, I know. A day out, dear, a Bessaya fruit. Wouldn't know. Let me say, room out in you when you will be our aircraft for.
And that's it for today's edition of the City Newsroom here on Citi TV. Durham has more information on our top stories and more. Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV. You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and on GoTV.